Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Friday Ramblings, and Happy New Year. That's right, it is the first rambling of 2022, and so I thought we'd do something a little bit different than our standard fare. What I thought we'd do is I thought we would take a few minutes to kind of look back, not on 2020 around the world, because a lot of people do that. I mean, I'm sorry, that whole year in review for all things movies and all things politics and all things social scandals. There's 1,001 programs that you have watched, no doubt, over the past 7 days that has taken care of all that. And there's nothing I can really say about it that would be so super unique and special that it would be worth sitting through yet another summary of what you lived through. I thought instead what I would do is I would take a look back at what this channel has produced over the past year, basically kind of a highlight of Roulette Productions. Because I've done a lot of videos this year. I do my ramblings every Friday, and then I do my Let's Play game videos, the Bardic Plays series, every Wednesday. And because of that, you know, that's 52 weeks a year. That's 104 videos. Now, I know for some of the bigger, highly monetized, super popular channels, that's a drop in the hat. You know, there's probably some channels that do 104 videos in a month. You know, or 2-3 months, and frankly, it's like, yeah, dude, if I could sit there and make enough money off doing this, where I didn't have to have a day job, then yeah, I would totally be busting out 3, 4, 5 videos a week, because that would be my thing. That would be the only thing I'm doing. This channel right now is not a monetized channel. It's not a super popular channel, which is part of why it's not monetized, because it's really not enough of an audience where monetization would even show any results. But that's okay, because everybody that watches, I do love you. Kisses no matter who you are. I give you kisses. And that's kind of the whole point. Right now, this is a labor of love. So I want to do something that I really did not do before I started doing these channels, which is look back at the stuff I've already done in a positive light. You know, I'm primarily, by nature, my brain works like a writer, which is I'm always really critical of my own work. I'm always, after the fact, after it's out there, going, God, you know, maybe if I had just done this a little different, maybe if I had just, done that instead. And it's a thing that you really have to struggle with when it bleeds into things beyond your writing and even into your writing, because you don't want to, constantly hate everything you do, because then you'll doubt doing anything in the future. But that's why we're going to put a positive spin on this, and we're going to give you quick highlights. Think of this as some videos that if you missed in 2021, you should totally watch in 2022 in between your regularly updating ramblings. Because that is the peek into the future, we are going to continue to do these videos as often as I possibly can, because I enjoy doing this. It's who I am. I like creating stuff. I don't want to say content, because I don't want to call myself a content creator. It just sounds awkward and kind of, it's like super vague sauce. It's like, I'm a content creator. I create content. And? It's like, what? Content is like the vaguest term you can use for producing videos. That's what they are. I don't care if it's vlogs like this, the Let's Play videos, the people that do, the in the news drama recaps, or just the plain news recaps, the educational videos. you know, the animated just for pure comedy shorts, which I love. Those are some of my favorite channels. You know, no matter what it is, serious, humor, education, drama, gossip, you know, showing off your music, whatever. It's their videos. Maybe you could almost say it's audio work if it is something like a music thing where you just have the static image as a placeholder. Okay, but still, just calling it content is super vague. So I don't like to call myself a content creator. I'm a maker of stuff. I'm a video maker. Come on, let's be honest. But that's what I do. And once again, I know we've talked about this before on some older videos from previous years, because we have done this for over a year now. My broadcast partner, Jaime, who unfortunately has not had a major presence on this channel in 2021 due to being super triple busy, as he likes to constantly challenge himself, which is a wonderful thing, and I give him all the support in the world, but it does eat up his free time. But Jaime and I both have one great standing policy about this channel. I don't care if we get a billion views on every single video. I don't care if we are the most popular channel on YouTube. We are not going to call ourselves influencers. Frankly, the idea that I'm influencing people, that I'm, you know, like, having a say in the way they think on a daily basis, that's kind of frightening, because I ain't a role model. I don't like the term influencer. It sounds very just... it's I don't know. I'm not gonna rip on it too hard, because there are people who, you know, because their stuff is very big business, and I have nothing against that. Use the term because that's just the term that is used in the business marketing PR circles. So it's kind of just something you have to suck up and deal with if you're going to run in those circles. But honestly, we're not in those circles. We don't have to suck it up and deal with the term, so we're not going to. Now all that out of the way, let's see what we did in 2021, and then I might give you a quick little peek of 2022. We're going to go ahead and start with the Let's Play side of things, because this is an episode of The Ramblings, so we should conclude with The Ramblings. Now, even though we technically started the original Shaman King Master Spirits playthrough in December of 2020, that was only the first 3 parts. The majority of the playthrough, which ran up through 11 parts, and if I ever actually get good enough at the boss to beat it, we'll probably have a bonus short part 12 thrown in. I don't know. I tried playing them again several weeks back, and it did not go well. I don't know. I may just have to look at some other big strategies for them. But it's a thing. But yeah, it ran 11 parts. And as I said, all but 3 of them, so that would be 8 parts, was done in January and February. So it, along with our current, or not current, just concluded at the end of December, playthrough of the second game, Master Spirits 2. What an appropriate title. You know, that ran several parts as well. A little bit shorter, mostly because I didn't have to do quite as much replaying of certain levels. I'm not going to say the game was necessarily easier, but I think after going through the first game, I kind of got some of my skills up and got a feel for the way the games are made and the way they potentially should be played. They are Metroidvania-style games. And I'm not going to declare I'm anywhere close to a Metroidvania subgenre master, but I think playing these 2 games have given me a little bit better skill level at that subgenre. But that was definitely an earmark playthrough of 2021 is those 2 games. If you didn't see any of those or you want to go back and rewatch them, heck, you can even rewatch the first 3 from 2020. Go for it. But that brings us into March, which is always kind of a fun month for me because I was born in March, and you know, culturally it's the beginning of spring, so it's kind of a hallmark month of the year. So I had the random improv idea to do a month-long theme of N64 era racing games. Mostly because I'm a big fan of 2 genres that had N64 ports of the arcade originals, which was the bulk of the playthrough, and that was the Cruisin' series, which is like Cruisin' USA, Cruisin' Exotica, Cruisin' World, and the Rush series, which did have some later sequels on other consoles, but the first few games, San Francisco Rush, Rush 2 Extreme Racing, were done as N64 ports. We also did the, let's face it, if you're talking about 64 racing games, obligatory Mario Kart 64. And even though I'm a huge fan of the Mario Kart playthrough, it was the first time I'd played the actual 64 games in, maybe 10 years. So, didn't do extremely great at it, but they were fun to play. Really, if you do like your Let's Plays, where it is all about having fun and not, you know, whooping the game's butt and showing off, go ahead and watch that. I think there was 5 games, yeah, because there were 5 Tuesdays in March last year. Go ahead and watch those 5 videos, because it is that you can hear me having fun. I take pride in those games and those playthroughs. We also did a run of the old Sega Genesis Ninja Turtles Hyperstone Heist game, which was the first time I had ever played the game, with the exception of about 4 or 5 minutes to make sure that my copy of the game worked. I had known about the game for many years, but because I never owned a Sega Genesis, or had a buddy that owned one and had the TMNT game, I had not played it before, and I managed to, in a single night, we went a little long at an hour and a half. For those of you who haven't been watching my Bardic Plays games, I usually try to go around an hour for them, but I was doing so good at the game and having so much fun, I just kept playing it, and I knew from a little bit of research that it was a relatively short game, so I just said, screw it. And yeah, I managed to beat the game. First time through playing the game, I managed to beat it. Now, I have a lot of experience with the old school Ninja Turtle games. I had previously played Ninja Turtles 3 on the NES on the channel, and I grew up playing Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game. And I'd had a little familiarity with Turtles in Time, as I had a buddy that owned it, but again, first time touching the game and you managed to beat it, that was something I took pride in, because I normally do not do that good in games that I'm playing for the first time. We did our 4-part playthrough of Warriorland on the Game Boy, which, again, is another playthrough I'm really proud of, because the 4th part is actually me going back through and playing the game and doing a 100% completion of it, or as I called it, the perfect finale. That is one of the few games that, well before I started the channel, just because of pure how much I enjoy playing the game and wanting to just continue playing it at any cost, that I completed like before I really started getting into the internet video game scene and finding out that there's a whole subset of the community that lives and breathes to complete games. Of course, the king of them all is our fellow YouTuber, Gerard the Completionist. Has an excellent channel that I recommend you watch when you get bored of me, which hopefully is after you've watched everything on my channel. But yeah, Gerard the Completionist is the king of completions. Wonderful guy. Very entertaining videos, especially when he plays games that are not very good. Those are some of the best videos. as he tries to put a silver lining on what was not a fun experience. But, you know, yeah, the Warriorland, that playthrough was totally me showing off. But we did run through of Yu Yu Hakusho for the Game Boy Advance, which only took 3 nights to do. That is another game that I had way back in the day when it was a brand new game. So it was a nice nostalgic throwback for me. We did beat the game. We did not rage quit it. It is kind of a short game. I'm not going to lie. It's not a super difficult game either, but it's a fun game. And especially for any fans of the Yu Yu Hakusho series. We did have our special 100th episode of the Bardic's Play series, in which I went a little more modern, and due to my long-standing love of all things Dragon Quest, which we'll touch on in the ramblings in a little bit, did a 2.5 hour, we made it nice jumbo size because it was the 100th episode spectacular of the first Dragon Quest Heroes game, which I had previously beaten the story mode of. I've come nowhere close to 100%ing it. May never do that. I don't know. There's a lot of level grinding I would have to do to beat all the optional side quests, but it's a really fun game for its genre, and it felt like the right thing to do for the 100th episode. I barely touched the story mode in it. I mean, it was basically me showing off the game to people who had never seen it before, and having fun playing something that I knew I would enjoy playing for extra long time. Let's see, we also did the Warriorland 2 series, which is currently uncompleted. We've gotten through 4 parts of it, but so that's something that we will continue in 2022. It's kind of my throwback game if I just want something to just kind of mess around with for a single night in between longer playthroughs of games. I did own the game. I do not enjoy it as much as the first Warriorland due to some changes in the gameplay mechanics, but it's something we're kind of picking away at. We'll at least, I don't know if I'll ever 100% it, but I will at least beat all the stages, because it's one of those games where you can technically get from the beginning to the end and have only played about half the levels because there's the branching stories, which is fun. You know, it's nice. But after that, we played a few one-offs. As I said, I'm not going to go through every single game I've played this year, but we did some one-offs, and the last big playthrough we did that I'm going to talk about before we move over to kind of pointing out some great ramblings you can watch to help get you charged up for what's going to come in 2022 is I spent 2 months doing a playthrough of Ghostbusters Remastered, which was a re-release of the Ghostbusters game that came out several years ago. Long story short, one of the production companies that was involved in it lost the license to it, so the original Ghostbusters game, which had a couple different versions depending on if you played it on console, what console you played it on, kind of disappeared from the market for a couple years. But then another company came back through, picked it back up, did a couple tweaks, minor tweaks here and there to the what they called the realistic version, which was on your HD consoles like your PlayStation 4, and released it on Steam under the term Ghostbusters Remastered. But I played the Wii version of the game, which has a different layout of levels and a few different bosses, and it's presented more in an animated format. It's harkens more to like the real Ghostbusters cartoon, whereas the realistic version takes more of its design influence from the movies, which is fine, because again, they're both really fun games, but I'd never played the realistic version. So when I saw it on Steam over the summer, and for a nice low price, I picked it up, waited until September, because I knew that the game would take more than just October to play, and I made it our extra long Halloween themed playthroughs. But it's a really fun game. Beat the story mode. Have not 100%ed it. There's some kind of scavenger hunting I still have to do in the game, but we will continue. I'll continue to do that in my spare time here and there, because it's something I do want to do. I really enjoy playing the game. There's a couple frustrating spots, but you know, it's going to happen with any game. But yeah, those are all some great stuff to watch on the Bardic Plays. I have a lot of fun playing the games. For those of you who've never tried giving those particular videos a shot, it's something that's worth checking out. So that brings us to our ramblings. Yay! Our wonderful ramblings. That is what you're here for, because you're watching a ramblings episode, where I just kind of splurge and spurge and ramble on, as the title goes, about all things pop culture and entertainment. So some of our particularly interesting ones, I did a comparison of the Psycho books versus the Psycho films, as in Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. This was because the first novel and the first movie are the only ones that sync up. After that, the novels and the movies go in completely different directions, and so I thought it was really interesting as a series. You know, the Psycho films are very iconic. First one is often considered one of the greatest suspense movies ever made. You know, the character of Norman Bates is one of the most well recognized in Hollywood history. So getting a chance to look at how the original author and Hollywood diverged and how they presented the ongoing story of Norman was something I really wanted to do. As somebody who enjoys reading and watching movies and being analytical, I just thought it was a very fascinating history. For people who are not familiar with Psycho books or the entire Psycho film series, highly recommend it. We did a video saluting Dr. Demento. Ooh, excuse me. What happens when you record after dinner? But yeah, we did a video discussing Dr. Demento, who is a radio DJ that specializes in presenting on his show novelty and comedic songs. Has been doing it for many decades. And what was most surprising in my research, and one of the reasons I really wanted to highlight him and give him some love, is he is also a highly knowledgeable music historian. He very much respects music of all genres and how the different genres have evolved over the decades, and has compiled quite a vast collection, as well as helped a lot of other historians get their facts straight. So a lot of salute to the doctor. We discussed a whole lot of Ninja Turtles as we broke down the original live-action trilogy of films, we then discussed a follow-up with the CGI standalone film that kind of tried to set up a sequel, but the movie wasn't super well received, so the sequel never came, as well as the two most recent Paramount movies, which, you know, I have strong opinions about that do not coincide with a lot of people's opinions. And I have strong opinions about a lot of the hate directed towards those movies and how, frankly shallow some of that hate is. But that's me. And you can watch that video if you would like to see that. But, as I said, we have a lot of love for the Ninja Turtles on this channel, so we discussed that. We broke down some more Nintendo legal history, as we just talked about when Nintendo tried to sue Galoob over the creation of the game Genie. For those of you who like getting into legalities and lawsuits and how they are won and lost, this is a great video for you, and very interesting as somebody who grew up in the era of the game Genie. We discussed a lot of Dragon Quest. In fact, we basically broke down every Dragon Quest game that has ever been made, with the exception of a couple of the mobiles that were Japan only. But yes, in celebration of Dragon Quest 35th anniversary and the news of Dragon Quest 12 being greenlit, we discussed not only the 11 previous games in the main series, but the mountain of spin-off titles over multiple videos. In fact, it was like 3, 4, 5 videos to cover all things Dragon Quest. A lot of information, a lot of good times for people who want to catch up on all things DQ. We broke down the various stories of Rudyard Kipling and how this English author's personal experiences with the continent of India during the time it was under British rule influenced his iconic writing career. Great video for those who are only familiar with the Jungle King and do not realize just how deep his literary works went. We had our usual Halloween ramblings in which we talked about the original Exorcist, both book and movie. A often overlooked Ghostbusters novel, a few classic horror game franchises, and a horror movie franchise that in 2021 got a bit of a TV feel to it. Yeah, that's right, we broke down all things Child's Play leading up to the launch of the Child's Play miniseries that came out just a couple months ago. Probably the last thing we're going to highlight here is we've only done 2 videos in the series so far, but it's something that is going to continue to influence 2022 content, and that is well, actually not really 2. It started with a previous one. Originally I talked about the brief history of Infinity Inc., a team that was a spin-off of the Golden Age comic Justice Society of America. Infinity Inc. was the children of the Justice Society. I did that video kind of as a quick warm-up because, as I said, Infinity Inc. only ran 52 issues. The team really did not appear after their series was canceled. Individual members would show up here and there, but, So it was a good briefer. However, that just reminded me how much I love the Justice Society. So I did a breakdown on the Justice Society team and how it has formed and reformed over the years, leading to the breakdown of the various Flashes and their Kid Flash sidekicks. Because one of the things that I highlighted in the Justice Society videos, and to a lesser extent Infinity Inc., is the concept that DC is the king of legacies. They have had over, about 100 years now, little less, of comic book history, although there was some gaps in the superhero genre due to declining popularity for several years there, but that served as a good dividing line between the Golden Age and the Silver Age, which is the core of understanding the Justice Society and its relations to the Justice League, and how those legacies are intertwined with individual heroes. Now, you really could argue that all that kind of began when I did a massive breakdown video of the Green Lanterns, due to the Golden Age Green Lantern being a thing. That was a couple years ago, but yeah, I did Infinity Inc., I did the Justice Society, I did the Flash, and I'm going to kind of continue going with this in 2022. We're going to discuss several other heroes who superhero identities were born in the Golden Age as members of the Justice Society and continued on through the Silver Age with the Justice League and even maybe some other DC teams in more modern times. Because, as I've said, to me that's what DC Comics is all about, is legacy and history, where you have distinct generations of heroes interacting with each other and inspiring each other, characters retiring or dying, and codenames being taken up. It's a great thing. Besides that, we're going to continue discussing all things video games. Well, not all things video games, but a lot of good stuff that I really enjoy about video games. Marvel Comics, manga, pro wrestling. We did some really good pro wrestling videos too this year. Some breakdowns of histories of individual WCW pay-per-views. You know, if you're a wrestling fan, check those out. Some histories of some titles, the NWA Tag Team Championships, I believe I did this year too. I'm looking back at my notes here. Did we do that in 2021? Yes, we did. We did discuss the NWA Tag Team titles, which exist in a few different forms, as well as the original WWE Tag Team titles, whose lineage has ended, but, you know, there's modern tag titles in WWE taken on, but yeah, we did discuss those as well, so if you are big on championship history and lineages, definitely go check those videos out. And I'd like to do some more. We've previously, before 2021, I think in 2020 I did a run through of a lot of different women's championships. But I'd like to do some more. You know, there's the NWA championship itself. Really, any of the NWA title history can get kind of confusing if you don't have good notes and a wonderful host like me to help walk you through it, because, you know, you had the individual territory titles, and then you had eventually the NWA would introduce, you know, overarching championships, which we talked about in the tag team history. Whew. Get kind of parchy in the throat here, because that's what happens when we have nice discussions. All in all, though, as I said, yeah, we'll definitely do some more championship histories in 2022. So look forward to that. But as always, the big rule of what you saw in 2021, what you'll continue to see in 2022 with the ramblings, is that we are going to focus on the positives. This is not a channel for me to be angry and critical. This is not a channel where I'm going to call people to task and say their stuff is crap and they shouldn't be in the industry. No, that's not my style. I want to bring everybody up. I will be honest when stuff doesn't work for me, but I will do it as a fair criticism, and in that sense of, hey, I'm not saying you're going to hate this. I'm not doing this just to, pee in somebody's Cheerios, but for reference, I'm not a huge fan of this. You may enjoy it more than me. As we say here, you can criticize if it's constructive, but do not come to hate. And since that's how I usually end all my ramblings, we're going to go ahead and end it here, folks. I appreciate you watching as we kind of did this little wrap-up of 2021. We just tied it all up in a neat little bow. And we are ready to begin 2022 next week with a new set of discussions. So join us. continue supporting the channel in whatever way you can. I don't know what this channel may look like by the end of 2022. Hopefully, we'll have a slew more viewers. I don't know. Maybe I'll pop up a little tip jar or something. I don't know. Find some schmuck to make me a t-shirt or two. It could happen. You never know. No matter what, though, I'm going to do my best to make a great channel for you and reward y'all for watching. So, as I said, we're going to keep it positive. There's plenty of growth to be had, and there's plenty of room and entertainment for everybody. So let's all have a good time, because that's what entertainment's all about, being entertained. Bye-bye, folks.